Welcome to another episode of All Fired Up. I'm Chuck Parker.
And I'm Bob Forster.
And we're here with Susan Atchison, therapist. I mean, I know you're a lot more than therapist, but I'm kind of trying to figure out what all this stuff is. So there's a lot more than therapist.
Yes.
So how are you anyway?
I'm delighted to be
It's
here.
nice to be
Thank
here.
you.
Nice to see you.
Happy
I
to be
noticed
here.
you're like, do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, so I know I just cut it short. It's like, therapist, but there's a lot more involved in what you're doing. What exactly do you do?
I'm the soul whisperer.
All right, which means what?
It means I help people to lighten their load so that their soul can express who they came to this earth to be. So that I help them to free themselves, to be the best version of themselves.
So if somebody comes into your office, right, they come in and how does it start? I have a problem, how does it, why would
How's this materialize, or how do they seek you out to?
So people
find
come
you?
to see me when they've
Thanks,
been
Bob.
doing perhaps traditional therapy, which is very effective for very many people, but not always for everybody, like anything else. And just through talking have not been able to resolve their issues to the degree that they want to be themselves. And so they'll find me in various ways through the internet or a lot of word of mouth referral. Right. And they come in and tell me that they want to get rid of this phobia, or they handle the depression, or have anger issues, or a lot of people feel stuck in life.
Right.
Some people, I'm dealing a lot right now with people who have what's called spiritual emergence. And spiritual emergence is when somebody is having what we call subtle energy. So they might be seeing things like lights, like the aura around somebody. They might be seeing disembodied spirits. I know you two work with that a lot. They might be hearing the voices of their guides, which is not like a schizophrenic would hear, because this is always good news that they're hearing. They might be feeling other people's emotions.
How do you decipher that?
Through questioning,
Okay.
just through asking. And a very simple way to ask is to say, is this your energy or not your energy? And people know. People
Really?
will know if it's
It's not
theirs
like
or
the
not
voice you hear,
theirs.
Chuck. That tells
I
you
hear
Not
voices
his
all the
voices.
time.
the one
Yeah.
you had about chopping me up or something.
No, I just, it's very interesting because everyone has their own, you have to be obviously very good at what you do, because you're going to have to decipher who is, like maybe a little crazy,
Right.
or like you said, spiritual, or entities, or whatever.
Right.
So you can obviously, how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing this since 2000, so about 18 years right now.
So you went to school for it?
I went to school to be a counselor. In counseling school, they don't teach you how to do past
No, of
life
course
therapy.
not.
I kind of had to hide that interest of mine while I was in school. And then once I got out, I found a really wonderful program that trained me how to do rebirthing, past life therapy, soul retrievals, that kind of subtle energy techniques. And I love those things. Well, first of all, it's who I am. I
Right.
love those things. But secondly, I love them because they create more effective change faster for people.
The past life ones?
Sure. For instance, if you drowned in a past life or got dumped in the ocean and were eaten by a shark, you might have an unexplainable fear of water or fear of large animals.
I think that's very true.
Right.
So I got a question once. So what would make somebody then, for like you're just talking the past life or something, what would make them feel why they have to come to see you? I'm just curious.
They may have unexplained symptoms.
Okay.
They may have intense love or intense dislike of a person in their life that is not explained by their psychologies today or their situation today. They may have, as I mentioned, a fear of water that's not explained. When people come to me and say, I just want to do a past life session, I'm just curious, I usually know something's going on below the surface, because people don't just call up and say, I want to spend
Right.
time and money, out
Right.
of curiosity, but they're just not ready to say that yet. So we go in and we find out what's bothering them. I had one young woman who came because she had such debilitating pain, she ended up in a wheelchair and had been to the Mayo Clinic, had been to lots of doctors, could not get it fixed.
What kind of pain?
She had, I think, leg and spine pain. And so she came, her mother brought her to see me, and in one session, she danced out the door.
Well, what would cause that then? See, that part I don't get.
yeah,
I get
yeah.
the spiritual drowning or this or what, a fire or whatever. I get all that, and because I believe that. But as far as a physical pain,
So
I don't get how
But the mind is very powerful, though.
No,
Yes,
I get
you're
that.
right.
But
I mean, the mind, I think if you we use a very small percentage of our mind in our lifetime. And so I can see...
What's your percentage you use? It's very little.
like 1/4%.
On a
means
good
he
day.
has a lot of potential.
Yeah, oh
See,
boy.
I need work. I need see. But
You're going to get a bill for $100
just
now, Bob.
I just actually seen a show the other day on television, so it's interesting that you explained this about pain and that her pain went away. Because the mind's very powerful. When you can, someone else sometimes can convince the mind, say you told me this is going to go away and I had enough to believe you, good enough, I could probably, it would go away maybe, because I seen it on a show on Sunday where a lady had cancer, but they were experimenting with, I probably shouldn't say this, but
Marijuana?
no, LSD from the, it's a new therapy or something. I just caught it, but they told her to get mad at the cancer, and she said it and screamed it going away. 2 hours later, they did a test on her. There was no cancer no more.
God.
This was a big it was on the CBS Good Morning.
Well, how
actually
did-
on the Sunday morning program, I think it's CBS this
Made
morning
it
on
into
Sunday.
the mainstream news.
Yeah, and I thought, well, now that is very interesting. But again, it comes back to what you just said.
Yeah, but how did-
the mind is powerful?
Getting back to what you said, so that girl comes into your place, and she's got pain, and she's
How old
dancing
is
when
she?
she leaves.
I think she was 10 or 11.
Okay,
Oh, wow,
so
young.
how'd you figure that out?
Well, we knew because of all the medical tests she had done that it probably wasn't something physical. So then I
Okay.
just, is it okay to do a little exploration in past life? And so I just take her back. And people will go, your mind will do two things for you when you're in hypnosis trance. And one is it will take you exactly where you need to go. And the example I give people is if you do have a trauma and you think it happened when I was 3, you might end up going to something in high school. So don't judge that, because a lot of stuff happens in school.
Right.
It's going to go exactly where you need to go. The other thing is it won't take you where you're not ready to go. So you're always safe. in
Now, does it work
hypnotherapy.
with everyone?
I don't think anything works with everyone, right?
I don't
so
either.
it would be kind of ridiculous to say that it would. But it's a very
Do people
safe.
fight it? Like, I think, remember when we met, when we were doing the show, a couple months ago or whenever? And we were discussing having you on as a guest, and I says, I just don't think I could be
Right.
put out,
Right.
because my mind is, I think, really, really strong with martial arts my whole life, and I just don't know if I can,
Right.
Put you out.
Right.
unless he hits me with a bat, and then you talk to
I'll
me.
put you out
Does
with
that
a hammer.
happen very
so-
often?
No, not often, just a few times.
Usually hits me. That's why I only got 1/4% of my mind I use.
So some of it is your intent. So I once heard somebody say, when do people start to heal with a therapist? When do you think?
I would think,
When they want healing.
well, but I would think as soon as you start, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but right away, if they come to see you and believe in you, then I would
Right,
think
because then
as
you
soon
want
as-
healing, so they come to see you. They
Right.
made that, they went through the door.
They
So
went
it's
through the
when they
decision.
pick up the phone,
Right.
or these days, the text or the
Right,
email.
right, right.
Yeah, because at that point, they have made a behavior that brings into the physical their intention. So they're saying, I want to heal. So somebody who really did not believe in hypnotherapy and didn't really want to heal probably would not be in my office.
So what is your opinion on the past lives? I mean, what is the reason? A lot of people don't believe in past lives.
Sure.
Right? Why do you think that is even worth discussing as far as past lives?
I believe in it because I was born to do this work. So I started studying this sort of thing when I was a teenager. And can I prove there are past lives? I cannot prove there are past lives any more than anybody else can prove that there are not. So
Right.
you can think of a past life as a story, a narrative, a metaphor. And I'll share this with people, and that's part of the intake questionnaire. Do you believe in past lives? And the reason I ask that is if somebody does not believe in a past life and they're in a hypnotherapy session for something else, and their mind says, now's the time to take me there, and they go there, I want them to know that it's safe and it's okay, that they're not, having an out-of-body experience or something. So if they don't believe in a past life, we're going to process that like it's a metaphor, like a dream. You do dream
Okay.
analysis, okay?
Right.
So
Yeah, I think
if
dreams
you
are
are not believing in past life and you're having an experience where you're drowning or a shark is eating you, What we'll do the healing around that,
You
and
use
it'll
the
work
analogy
the
of a
same way.
shark a lot. Is there a
That's
reason
a
for
great. It's the one I remember.
that? Just curious. I just, it's a shark. I don't like sharks either.
Most people don't.
What's interesting, when you just a moment ago, you said, like, where you're talking about if you believe or don't believe, what's there say there is, who's there say there isn't past
Right.
life. But there is documented cases, which I've seen, and the most interesting one I ever seen was about the little boy, and maybe you've seen this, where he kept telling his parents he came from this other town and all this, and he was in a submarine. Did you ever see that one?
I've heard of it.
That one was very interesting, and finally his mom and dad, after like a year or so, just like, okay, he said, take me to this place. Well, first of all, he told them where he used to live, and they looked up the people and asked him if they had a son, and they said, yes, he was killed in a submarine in World War II.
It's amazing.
So they agreed to take him there. They had cameras. He actually told them where his room is before he was in the house. He told them their aunts and uncles and everything. And so I guess I could look at you and say, how can this be? How in the heck? There's no way that kid could have known. He was like 11 years old, but yet he knew everything about the history, the grandparents. I mean, so.
That's got to seal the deal.
I love
as
that
far
story.
as I'm concerned, that seals, because there's other stories like that. We were discussing before you come on, and I was telling him about a story of a lady that, since she was like a little kid, like 5 years old, had a memory of a past life. So she would write stuff down where she could start writing and blah, blah, blah. And then she's 10, 12 years old, she's writing, and literally page after page of drawings of streets and stuff like that. And to make a long story short, she ends up puts in the back burner a little bit. She gets married, blah, blah, blah. She has a kid. When she had the kid, all of a sudden the floodgates opened up. She told her husband, I'm telling you, here's what I've been experiencing my whole life, and I'm going to show you a book so you don't think I'm nuts. And he goes, this is unbelievable. Here's what you do. Go to this town in, wherever it was at, in, Ireland or whatever, and let's do some research, And she came up with all this stuff, and there was books written on it. And I just thought, it's proven. She didn't make this up.
Right.
She had all this stuff dated, and because she just was really like, how did this even happen? So like he was saying, once you experience that or you see that, how can a skeptic go that that's not true?
And it's not to say that maybe not everybody has had a past life.
Well,
I mean,
no.
that's what I'm thinking. And
Do you
this
think,
is my
good,
own.
that was good, Bob. Do you think everybody had a past life?
I personally do think
I do too.
everybody has had a past life.
I do too.
Whether people will believe the wonderful stories that you've shared, there's studies showing the more somebody believes one way, you can show them a lot of evidence and facts saying that's not true. That only makes them believe it more, their way.
There you go.
So if somebody's in a particular religion, and there's some religion, all religions are wonderful, but there's some religions that do not believe in past lives and preach against it. So if you come to them with these stories, the evidence that you have, that you talked about, that's going to actually make them believe more that that's not right, that's false.
See, that makes no sense to me.
Right. But it's not a factual, it's not a intellectual thing. It's just the way the brain works.
Right, but
So-
because to me it's like in a court of law. So if I took that kid with all this document to court of law to prove this is who he used to be, there's nobody that could dispute it because there's so much evidence.
Right.
So how can you be skeptical towards that?
Exactly.
Right.
I don't
You can't
see
be.
you can't be.
Well, then that's assuming
Unless
people,
they think they're not making it up as a
But
publicity
the kid
stunt.
but the kid was too small to know all this, and they lived in a
No,
home
I get it,
like
but
5 states. Yeah,
again, I'm talking as a skeptic will
Right.
talk.
Right.
They're going to say, no, what the parents did was they wanted some publicity because they wanted to write a damn book.
Yeah, well,
and
that
what they're
was
going to
them.
do is this, and they want to make a movie, and so that really there's wackos out there.
yeah, but
And
this was
they're
not
just
back.
well,
they'll
I know that. I believe it.
rationalize everything you said
Right.
to
Right.
why it's not true.
To
And
take it to their belief.
right, because
Right.
we don't operate always on our intellect. We operate on our emotions. And emotionally, they're wedded to this belief system. So
Now,
they're
have
gonna
you
stay there.
ever had someone do a past life that was so
not with a shark?
yeah, that was not eaten by sharks or does anything to do with water?
Or did you ever have anything? Or you go ahead and finish what you're
Well,
gonna
no,
say.
I was just going to say, did you ever have anybody that they went so far back that they were kind of talking about what we were talking about with that kid or that girl that, in Ireland or whatever, maybe talking in an accent, taking it to a level that's just like through the
That
roof.
you never seen or something.
In my training, some of my colleagues, we would all be doing our sessions in pairs in a large room. So
With different people?
So, if I was paired with him, you would
Right.
be paired somebody else, and so you could, clearly the people next to you,
Right.
you could see, and then after a while, I was an assistant, so I would circulate around helping other people.
Right.
And yes, there were people who would speak in a different language that they did not know. Yeah.
See, I'd want
Now, how do you explain that one now?
I'd want to like tape
See,
it.
that's even more so than, in my opinion, more than a little kid, even though that's great. That you can't dispute.
Here's the,
100%.
on a situation like that, though, you'd have to have it recorded or filmed, so then you could see what language they were speaking and what the heck they were saying.
Well, I'm sure they were, right?
I mean,
Yes,
I've
it
seen
was-
recordings of that.
Right, somebody was speaking, and actually, I think the person was speaking Russian or something like that, and another woman in the room knew that language, so she knew it was true Russian. She could interpret, actually.
I wonder if anybody's ever got somebody that, here you going back in like a past life regression, and they were like somebody evil or something.
They say that we have all played all the roles, so that every one of us here on the earth, because we're just having learning experiences, so there's not really good or bad, so that every one of us has been the good person that hopefully we are today, because we've learned a lot of lessons. It takes a lot to get here, but we also have been basically Attila the Hun, and we've
why
done
Chuck hits me
very,
with the
very
bat.
bad things.
See, I
Right, so
told ya.
he's just not over it yet. Yeah.
Yeah. You said Attila the Hun. Every time you say that, it's just
Oh, is
something-
that like,
if you say it.
When you say the goose,
Say
the goose
Attila the
drops
Hun.
down, or the duck from
No, I'm not
Groucho
talking about a
Marx?
duck. I'm talking about Attila,
Attila
the
the
Hun. Will you please say Attila the Hun?
I think not.
Please. I'll say it. Attila the Hun.
You can't even pronounce it right. You need speech therapy.
Attila the Hun.
So
My
anyhow-
teeth were slipping, Bob. Sorry.
So no, but I guess here's another question. It's going to be kind of strange question maybe, but so if we want, I guess
So
I'm
what's
a strange
new?
guy. So I've thought of this, like reincarnation and that, but our population keeps getting bigger and bigger. So then if we're all, how does the population keep growing if it's the same people coming back over and over again?
So that's a really good question,
see.
and I actually remember when I was like 8 years old, my friend's mother saying that same thing. So what it is it's not this finite pool of 1 billion souls. There's many more than that. It's actually very, very desired to be born on the earth plane, and you almost have to get in line to do it. So it's a wonderful experience for people because it's such a learning school. There's so much going on here. There's emotional.
Almost
there's
like you said,
physical.
where you pick your parents. Right?
So if you have this whole table full of souls, this might be the ones who are on the earth right now. So, and then 100 years from now, it might be a different group.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which kind of leads into one of our last guests we had. And I think I asked her the same question with, as far as if people, paranormal, talking paranormal, if someone, if a ghost is, how come they're ghosts if they don't come back? I believe that they come back. So is the spirit, why is there a ghost out there then?
Well, because they didn't make it all the way
They didn't
back
make it to the
heaven
other
world.
side.
Yeah.
Well, wherever they're
when
going.
are they going to?
Well, they get stuck
as you pay 'em.
because of emotional issues
They-
or trauma, the same reason we get stuck here. So, some of your great Buddhist people, I believe they say all of life is just preparation for death. So that's the reason
Well,
for
yeah, I dig that.
non-attachment.
Right, I like
Because
that.
if
See
you're
that,
not
yeah.
attached to things in this life, then when, the cord is cut, you can go up to the heaven world, which is the
Right.
place to be, I'm told. But if you're attached to your money or your house, or
What are you
if you're
attached to,
attached
Bob?
to, say, hatred or revenge.
Hatred.
Right. Or if there
No,
was great
I'm
trauma.
always happy, you know that.
If there was great trauma when you died, you go into kind of shock. Have you ever seen somebody after a bad car accident, they're just like glassy-eyed
Yeah.
and they don't know which way to go? Well, it's the same thing with the spirits. They
Right.
just don't know which way to go. And I do spirit releasement as well, which I love.
And what does that
because
entail?
Spirit releasement is if you came to me and you had an entity attached to you, I would actually just do therapy with the entity. So instead of doing therapy with you, there's not any kind of battle.
film
it's just
that?
Chuck
understanding.
used to have like a
Can we
baby
film
brother
that?
attached to him.
I still do.
It's under the shirt. So that's interesting. So like, say, in other words, you might knock it off, Chuck.
I didn't do it. It's the baby. The baby did it.
It's Quado.
Stop it. I told you to stop it.
Hey, what was the, now you made me forget what I was going to say
See?
because I got only 0.25% of my brain going on here.
You want to take a nap and we'll come back to you?
Dang it. What's important, kind of.
Okay, so the reason that I love doing spirit releasement is because I'm helping 2 souls or more. Some people have 3, 4, 5, 10. I had one that had 60.
Get out
They
of
called it party.
Really?
Yeah.
So is this like a possession? Like if you're possessed or?
Yeah, but not in that evil kind of
Okay.
way. So, they might be. So here's an example. If you were taken over, had somebody residing in your energy field that had died of a stomach ailment, you might get a lot of stomach aches.
So this is why I get stomach aches. I'm serious.
No. I
No,
think
but
you're
that's
hitting
kind of
something.
weird. So maybe I should see her to get rid of my stomach aches I have
Right.
once in a while.
And this is a reason
I'm being
why a
serious.
lot of people
stop eating
who
junky
have
food.
alcohol or substance abuse problems have a difficulty recovering from that, because it's pretty well known that alcoholic entities will try and get in the aura of somebody who's drinking alcohol.
See, I love that. I love that concept because I totally believe that.
Well, I
Because
think
I have alcoholic friends, and, well, he's one of them, but we'll
No,
talk
I'm
about
not.
that.
That's a lie, Chuck.
No, I do have alcoholic friends, and they always say, I wish I was like you. You can go out and have a drink,
That's what I mean. I
2
can
or
have
3
one and
drinks, and
walk
bop,
away.
bop, bop, and then you don't have any for a week, 2 weeks,
Right.
then you go out and you can have, and I'm like, well, I just don't have that addictive personality. But
Yeah, but
now
see,
that you
that's
said
how-
it that way, it's putting it under a different,
Right.
lens as far as, that's a good point. I like that.
But see, I look at like in that sense as like addictive personality. In other words, like somebody who smokes, I can't put it down. Or for instance, like my son has addictive personality, like my first wife, where they both smoke cigarettes. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but don't you think that has anything
Where
to...
my daughter has a person, like she can have one drink and maybe not drink for a week or so. I mean, we can put it. No, it doesn't matter.
But don't you think that has something to do with how you're raised also, though?
Well, there are
Yes
so
and no.
many
Because if you're raised with
factors.
alcoholic parents,
Right.
now you'll go one way or the other maybe, because you'll see the alcoholic
but my
parents
kids
and go,
are-
I don't want to be like that.
But my wife's not. Sandy was an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic.
No, I know that, but I'm just saying in other cases then. If, some kids are alcoholics because their parents were both alcoholics. Some kids won't drink at all because their parents were alcoholics. So they go the other way.
Well, you know what's interesting with my son? I got him a job, which I won't say where, but I put him with my boss, and my boss drank a lot. And I was actually kind of scared me when I got my son a job there, and that turned my son into an alcoholic.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, no, he's fine now, but I mean, he followed my.
Now, do you think that
ex-boss.
had something to do with it?
Oh, definitely, yeah, because
Really?
they drink every night.
Oh, did they go out afterwards and stuff?
Every night
Oh,
they
okay.
drink on the job after the job's done. So, and the kid was only 19. Well, at 19, you're influencing them and they're drinking and they're handing him a beer and they're right on the job. 'Cause
Yeah,
he
yeah,
wasn't
no,
21.
I agree.
And that's
And they start kind of getting their wheels in the
Yeah,
track,
and
so to
that's-
speak,
and
of
that's what started
a weird
it.
habit.
And he's 32 now, but now it's very seldom he'll have a beer. And he actually has a really nice girlfriend that doesn't drink, thank God. So he's kind of straightened out. But yeah, he definitely has a addictive personality.
Some people do have it. There's so many threads that weave together for any kind of issue. So you have your genetics, you have
Right.
your upbringing, you have the situation you're in now, you have the culture. That's really important.
Right.
So you already have all of those things. If for some people you add in the alcoholic entity,
Based
they
on
have
the
to
other
deal
stuff,
with
right?
that plus all of these.
Yeah, so in
that
other
are
words, if
already
you
going
have
on.
addictive personality, from which I do believe in genetics, like it can come, hand me down through the genes and that, and then like you just said, that's a good example. And then all of a sudden now you put them with somebody who's can go that way. So that makes sense to me.
That's sort of like having a roommate or a boss that's always got his arm around you, and you try to get away from the beer or whatever, and he's like, "No, come
Just
on."
have one
Right.
more.
Yeah.
Just have one more.
Yeah, that's it. That's what.
Well, then they put a lot of
Nancy
pressure. You can't walk away. Come on, you got to have
Right.
one with us.
Now, we were talking before the show started about the PTSD.
said. Yes.
We only have about 5 minutes left.
Oh.
It goes fast, I told you.
does.
But we're gonna have to come back on another show here.
Okay.
I want to find out what Chuck used to
And
be.
when you do, we'll talk PSTD, but I also want you to do a past life on me, or
Happy
at least
to.
See the technique of doing it.
Maybe I should
Whether
use
it
the duct
works.
tape and duck you in case you turn mean or something. You
I
know?
might turn mean and go after you, so.
I know.
But as far as the PTSD, I know it's hitting the tip of the iceberg because we don't have a lot of time, but how do you deal with that?
Safety. You want to
Which
create a
means what?
lot of safety, so that is creating an environment.
So
for
I'm
the
coming
person.
into you saying, listen, I got all these problems. I can't get this out of my mind of what I went through in Afghanistan, blah, blah, blah. Here's what, so you're going to talk it out first, right?
Always start by talking.
Right.
Talking
So now the
connects
person-
parts of the brain.
And the person will open up, most of them will, that's why they're here to see you, like you said earlier. So now they're here to see you. You ask them a question, they're not going to be, I'm not telling you, because they wouldn't even come in then if they're not going to tell you.
I think
Well,
people
yes and
more.
no. There, people will do what feels safe to them at the moment. So
Right, but you know they're going to open up a
Right.
little bit, that's why they're
Eventually
there.
they
People
do.
open up more sometimes with strangers than they will family members.
sometimes they do. Yeah.
Right, so now they come in, and now we only have about a minute left, so we get really fast. When you say make it safe, what do you talk to them about?
So I want to soothe their nervous system, and soothing the nervous system can be done with warmth or cold that works physiologically on the nervous system. I'm also a certified aromatherapist, so I use essential oils that go directly to the amygdala, which is a cluster of neurons in the center of the brain that handles your emotions like fear, anxiety, terror, that sort of thing. And so I'm going to provide that kind of soothing of the nervous system first, because if you're in an alarmed state, you're not going to be able to learn anything new. If you ever watch Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer,
Right.
he always says if the dog is not calm, the dog will not learn the new behavior.
And I like him, by the way. He trained me how to train my dog. I had a pit bull that could not walk. He would wrap my arm out of the socket. And he goes, just do this to the dog. Just do this. Go, tss.
Right.
And I go, oh, that's not going to work. So I go, let's go now. Let's go for a walk. Pulling my arm out. I go, tss, tss. He sits. I go, get out of town. Anyway, I hate to cut it short like this, but thank you for coming in.
Thank you so
Will-
much.
Will you
This
come
was
back
wonderful.
It's
I
been
would
a
be
do a
happy
past
to
life
come
on me?
back.
Yeah, because I got to see
Absolutely.
what he used to be.
'Cause I think
Maybe
that would be
hit
great.
me with a bat then.
No, but I think it was great. Great having you here.
Thank you,
Thank you
Chuck.
for coming in. You saw the website underneath, so if you want to contact, just let's set it up. For
Absolutely.
Susan.
I'm happy
Thanks.
to talk to anybody.
So if you want to go see her about your problems, and you got many, bring your checkbook, buddy.
I got many problems because being on the show with you. Anyhow, thanks everybody.
you.
I appreciate it. Take care.